We've decoded the intel from the First Order spy, and it confirms the worst. Somehow,
Corey
returned.
Wait, do we believe this?
It cannot be.
Corey
He's dead.
Dark science. Cloning. Secret Sony.
Scoopers. Yeah. Sunday, Monday, Corey days. Tuesday, Wednesday, Corey days. Corey Day. What a day for YouTube. This content is ours. Scoop along with me those Corey days. Hey, you guys. After that amazing opening bit of welcome. Steele was Hyperchat. It is Thursday, the 27th of May, 2021. It is 11:08 p.m. on the Pacific seaboard of the United States. And we are under 1 hour to the Bad Batch. And joining us for a bit of a pre-show chat, Corey Days are our buddies from the Kessel Run Transmissions. Aubree and Corey, how you doing?
Hi. What's going on? Thanks for that proper intro. You did it right this time, so that's good. That's good.
Well, you do the outro so good. It's I get a bit nervous.
Yeah, I would too. I understand that. I have I have a presence.
You've got a present?
What do we got going on today?
Hey, Bad Batch coming up tonight. Last week,
I'm gonna predict what's gonna happen tonight. They're gonna get to the planet. Mm-hmm. Omega's gonna get in trouble, and they're gonna have to leave the planet.
Really?
Since tonight's episode.
Special guest optional.
Right. Special. Yes, that's right. Beloved character is an option tonight.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a chance that someone hits their head? Dude.
High chance, yeah.
Dude.
Poor Wrecker.
Yeah.
Okay. Listen.
I know.
I am trying to help Star Wars characters not get concussions. This is my new purpose. But guys, sadly,
this is a battle I do not think that we can win.
So there you go.
That person that Will Smith plays in that NFL movie, I think he was just called Concussion, where he's trying to make the NFL players don't get concussions.
What's the film Concussion about? Dude.
I didn't watch it, so I don't know.
I will add that person who's getting his head beaten, he's dead. She threw him off the ship. The civilian.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
that's good.
I mean, it wasn't the concussion, though.
I will stand by my statement from last Thursday for sure.
You idiot.
Yeah.
Go back and watch last week's show. It's timeless. Where Corey tries to convince us that the Clone Wars film was better than The Phantom Menace.
It's honestly like your worst take. And you have some pretty bad takes. I love you, but you have some pretty bad takes.
Oh my gosh. He's clipped you.
So good.
You've been clipped.
I've seriously been looking back at that footage on Twitter over and over and over.
I haven't seen it
this
once.
week, and it makes me so happy.
Hmm.
It's just the way you say, you idiot.
You idiot.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I get it. It's you can't perceive. You guys aren't on my level. I get it.
Corey, your feelings are valid, but sometimes people's feelings are contrary to reality.
This is a vibe check.
But I should say, Aubree, welcome to the video thumbnail. You're poking your little head out now.
I love it.
That was a bit of a Photoshop miracle
It's a
right there.
It's a retcon from Celebration.
What What am I reacting to there?
Clone Wars panel.
Oh.
Oh. Why?
We're at the Hasbro panel. It's sold out stadium seating to hear about the prototype Boba.
Which are still yet to be back in stock.
Yeah, because they made 5 of them.
Hey, what about that? Did you see Yakface's photo where there was like about 50
Echoes?
Yeah. That's, like, it's impressive. You know, they're a couple weeks late. It's fine. But I like that they're just doing this solid pack of a character that they think will be popular. Who would have thought it?
Well, I'm pretty sure that Target got an accidental shipment because it's not every Target. Although I will say the Target that I live in, like close by. Now, I don't live in the Target, but I live by the Target.
Basically, you live in the Target.
Not really, but they have.
You wish.
They had about like 20 Anakins and 20 Obi-Wans, so they're stocking them.
Well,
okay.
Our friend Ross, he was in North Carolina, and he was there when they brought them all out. So I wonder if the cases that he saw were comparable to that. No.
He found one.
Did he live stream the boxes being unpacked? That's what I would have done because I'm dedicated to content. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course.
No, he didn't. When he said he was doing, he was like, I think he was getting ready to argue with employees if they tried to cap him on how many he could buy.
Really? I love.
Or no,
that definitely did not happen.
He was getting ready to argue if they wouldn't let him buy them because technically they were supposed to come out the next day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Every time I walk into a Target, I expect an argument. That's the attitude I go in with. You know, just like you call these savings.
Yeah.
Have you got those figures yet, Corey?
I do. Yeah, I got the 4 of them. Ross got them for me actually before I found them. So he got the 4. They're cool. Yeah, they're cool. I like them a lot. It'd be great if he kept making them, but we'll see.
Always lamenting. They gave you exactly what you wanted, and it's all like this is pure you, Corey. It's like when they did that 7th season of the animated Clone Wars, and I'm like, dude, just enjoy these. Don't like when we've got 3 episodes left, start talking about how it's unfair they're not making more. And I don't even think you let the opening credits of the first episode come out before you started bemoaning it.
Yeah, there's definitely like 40 more episodes that they had planned that they could have done for sure. They didn't do them though. Could have.
It's a vibe check.
For sure.
It's not a vibe check. It's a reality check, Corey. You got a total other series, and then you got like this 16 of these bad batching around.
I mean, it's possible.
It's possible. These are facts.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Okay. All right.
I'm actually content. I'm happy. I think Hasbro did a great job with these. They should make more of them.
This is why my throat dropped you from their PR list.
That is exactly why. I remember that day.
What did they do to us?
No.
They took you off the list. That's what they did. They took you off the list.
Yeah.
Did they send you an email about
that?
Or just...
Cold turkey.
Oh.
Yeah. That's okay. Thanks. I didn't get the Reverend lightsaber. It's okay. It's fine.
I want the Reverend lightsaber.
I know.
Did you reach out to them at all and let them know how you felt?
Please.
I just understood. I was like, I respect it.
Makes sense.
I respect the defense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think it could be due to this?
It's totally possible. Still haven't seen that Baby Yoda after those events.
Hitting their most popular item. Hey, so Harry had he goes to this lady, his I guess nanny, but she's like a lady in the local area that looks after him and his best friend that lives next door. Very convenient. But she's away. And so I had the boys today.
Mm-hmm.
And Harry's friend is a little bit older than Harry, but is petrified of animatronic Chewbacca toy, animatronic Porg toy, or the Porg that goes meh, 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 and the Baby Yoda, right?
No.
So before
What did you do?
before he came around, right, I was requested to do something, and
Oh no.
check this out. This is in our bedroom cupboard, the furthest thing away from the lounge room. And it's in the cupboard. All three of them locked away. I had to close the cupboard door and then the bedroom door and then the hallway door. But he still was questioning me on it. And just asking me the best questions. Like he's like, so Chewbacca, can he walk? And I'm like, the real Chewbacca or the toy Chewbacca? And he's like, real Chewbacca. And I'm like, yeah, he can walk. What about toy Chewbacca? And I'm like, no, he can't walk. Okay. So very dramatic.
That sounds like me.
Yeah, at Disneyland, everything with an animatronic was scary.
So last week you had the little Scoopy Doop about the name of the episode, and hey, 100% correct. So I'm wondering, with 40 minutes to go, can you drop the fandom ruining rumor, spoiler, reveal of this week's episode before you answer? Thank you.
No, I don't know it. I don't know it.
Did you ask your source?
No, because it airs in 39 minutes.
You should have asked your source earlier. Prepping for Corey Thursdays.
You idiot.
Yeah. Don't know. It's definitely a Bad Batch episode, though.
Dude.
The Kinders did say, though, that this is a big episode for
Actually,
them.
I do have a scoop.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wait. Go.
Finnick will be in 3 episodes. There you go.
Who?
Finnick.
Okay.
All right. Very exciting.
How do you know that one?
How do I know anything, really?
Oh, I think you told me.
IMDb shared this one with me.
Oh, it's not accurate.
Great source.
Yeah, exactly. Did you know George Lucas is writing Andor?
Great source.
Tiniest two cats.
That's right.
Hey.
Did you see that Reddit was angry with us this week?
The who?
The Reddit was angry with us this week.
Yeah.
With Michael.
Right. No, but this is you guys with that. You go up to the beehive with a twig and go, yeah. And it's like, oh, I'm getting stung by the bee. Who could have guessed?
I don't mind getting stung.
I'm like, yeah,
I enjoy it.
I'm stick it to them, and then they'll be mean to me. And I'm like, oh, never mind.
I don't feel bad. I just don't.
So then I delete my tweets because never mind. So sometimes I'll have a sassy tweet and I'll have it up for like 2 seconds. And I'm like, no.
Listen, if Reddit can believe a rumor that we clearly made a joke about 3 cats, that's just one of the funniest things to me.
They've been really mean to me.
Yeah, they're awful.
They didn't like that I said that the Mando season 3 is filming, even though I know someone on set.
Oh.
It's okay if I say that one.
Sure.
It's okay if I say that one. And they were saying that I was crazy and a little girl, and I don't know what I'm talking about. And that was kind of funny.
So you're saying you know someone on the Mando 3 set?
Yes, exactly. I know Toro.
That's right. Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent.
I love when we got out of focus the Minotauro. Came in.
Anyway, so I don't know how well this new microphone's working. It's very echoey. I'm just critiquing.
Yeah.
My living room is also like kind of empty, so.
Oh, that's better. Being close to the mic. Oh, that is. Look at that.
Yeah.
Hello, we're doing ASMR now.
Ah, sweet action.
Soothing. All right.
So, we've got about 40 minutes under to go. So I wanted to get this. You've been away all week from the streams, Corey. So I was worried that Poe Dameron wouldn't have good news about you at the start of the show.
Yeah.
So, but however, I'm clicking JJ Abrams. I'm fascinated with this. With all things JJ Abrams reflecting on the Star Wars, and I didn't share the audio. Sorry about that. Stop screen. He a few weeks ago had said, when he was talking about big franchises, he talked about sort of like the lament, I put it, of like missed opportunities and sort of thinking about what you should have done and stuff. So I've been enjoying his introspection and his commentary on his Star Wars experience. And he was, why is this not going over? Ooh,
critical.
This is very odd. My StreamYard's just frozen.
Was that JJ Abrams right there?
You guys are there, aren't you?
Yeah. Hello?
Corey?
Yes.
Corey?
Hello?
Aubree?
Yes.
Hello? Hi?
How come I can't hear anyone?
Oh no. Can chat hear us?
Can people in the chat hear me? Am I the problem or Corey and Aubree?
Hello, chat.
They are still there. So you can hear them, Josh? Can you hear me?
Oh boy, I don't think there's been one day.
All right. Can people, I can hear both. Why can't I hear you? That is so weird. All right, I'm gonna click out and then come back.
Oh, we're hosting.
We're hosting. Oh, much better. Almost. Steele.
Did he mute his computer? Well, we're hosting again.
We're hosting again.
Hello.
So JJ Abrams.
JJ Abrams.
I think I know the basic gist of what this is, that he said that there was no plan for the sequel trilogy, in which I replied, that is very evident. That was evident from the beginning.
Mm-hmm. And he
I
said that he wants his, I guess from now on, he wants things to be more planned.
Feels like beating a dead horse, though, with the sequel trilogy. Like, every time an interview like this comes out, I just automatically go like, well, yeah.
Yeah, I think from like a writer's perspective too, like it's generally good to have a rough idea. Like even like think Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling had an idea, okay, like this is going to happen with Snape and Voldemort and all this stuff. Or even George Lucas had very similar, very, very, very rough outlines. I think that's just like good in general for even just one story writer. So I would imagine that that's good for a team, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I can hear you now.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, yay!
But I have lost my window because I closed my browser. But what were you saying, Aubree? It sounded very rational.
Oh, I was saying that as like a writer and someone who writes stories, I think in general, it's a nice idea to have some sort of rough outline or plan as to like where you want your story to go, even if it's just a rough idea that you don't even write down and is in your head. So for example, like with J.K. Rowling, she thought like, okay, I'm going to have Snape do this and I'm going to have this in the end with Harry and Voldemort and stuff. And Dumbledore is going to die somewhere in there. Like that makes sense, and it gives you kind of like a goal. Otherwise, there are a lot of times where you see writers kind of like fizzle out in the end, like, oh crap, I have to end the story. And I don't know, you see that in like the Hunger Games or whatever. But in this, you kind of saw that, and so I get that why JJ would say that. Like, it makes sense to me.
Yeah, I agree.
There's a couple of things about it. So I'm guessing that Aubree set the stage for what they were talking about in the interview. It's like if a guy that made 2 of the films, after it's all said and done, says, "Oh, hey, I probably think like the lesson I learned was you can never, you know, you probably should have a plan." Do you know what I mean? Like, I think, can I get a quote? I do think there's nothing more important than knowing where you're going. He talks, we'll play the clip, but he talked about how it helps you hint at things and what to sort of emphasize, sort of thing in the story as you go, for us to follow along and go, oh, that's a hint that's happening. And, you know, like you can foreshadow stuff. I don't think like a guy or a director or a writer afterwards saying, hey, I maybe learnt the hard way over a couple of projects that you should plan ahead. I don't think it's like this huge indictment.
Mm-hmm.
Like people are really like sort of arguing that he was even talking about Star Wars in it. And it's like, I don't like, it's not it doesn't mean you don't like the film or you didn't have fun. It just means that the guy that made it, in retrospect, going through everything that he went through, so like, yeah, probably having that plan to drive to would be a pretty sweet deal. But let's go to the clip. Care of Collider.
One of the things I liked about the Star Wars franchise that you guys did was that the creative handoff between you and Rian Johnson, which I felt, you know,
I do say I love watching his expression during this, just to see if he just pulls a face at the mention of anything. Very blank face.
Yeah.
But like Scott Chitwood has broached the topic of Star Wars and the creative handoff. That is the topic that is being set in this interview.
He was letting filmmakers take their own stories and take the story where they wanted to go, and I felt that played out in a really interesting way. But I know not everyone feels that way, and I'm curious for you, as the person who helped get that foundation off the ground and also concluded it, do you feel like that trilogy would have benefited from planning out a very strict 3-movie story from the very beginning? Or do you enjoy that kind of creative freedom to kind of take the characters different ways and kind of see how it goes?
You know, I've been involved in a number of projects that have been, you know, in most cases, series that have ideas that begin the thing where you feel like you know where it's going to go, and then sometimes it's an actor who comes in, other times it's a relationship that as it's written doesn't quite work, and things that you think are going to just, you know, be so well received, just crash and burn, and other things that you think like, oh, that's a little small moment, that's a 1 episode character, suddenly become a hugely important part of the story. And I feel like what I've learned as a lesson a few times now, and it's something that in especially in this pandemic year, working with writers, the lesson is that, you know, you have to plan things the best you can, and you always need to be able to respond.
I do have to say the big news here is JJ Abrams wrote the pandemic. That's what I've what a prick.
What a twist.
The unexpected. And the unexpected can come in all sorts of forms. And I do think that, you know, there's nothing more important than knowing where you're going. And there are projects that I've worked on where we had some ideas, but we we hadn't worked through them enough. We had sometimes we had some ideas, but then we weren't allowed to do them the way we wanted to. We had.
Now that is interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
It could be talking about like Mr. Echo or something in Lost.
Right.
But,
yeah.
But it is an interesting little nugget, especially when you consider what the question was about.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had all sorts of situations where, you know, you plan things in a certain way, and you suddenly find yourself doing something that's 180 degrees different.
Oh boy, I don't think he's referring to this, but I can. With the 180 degrees different thing, that hurts me. I don't think he's talking about that though.
And then sometimes it works really well, and you feel like, wow, that really came together. And other times you think, oh my God, I can't believe this is where we are. And sometimes when it's not working out, it's because it's what you planned. And other times when it's not working out, it's because it didn't. It's like you never really know. But having a plan, you know, I have learned in some cases the hard way, is the most, you know, critical thing, because otherwise you don't know what you're setting up. You don't know what you're, you know, what to emphasize, because if you don't know the inevitable of the story, you know, you're just as good as your last, you know, sequence or effect or joke or whatever, but you want to be leading to something inevitable.
So there you go, Corey. You've just seen that for the first time. Try not to rattle around the microphone too much. Matthew Thurbin assumes that he's talking about color grading. Quite possibly. Very funny, as always, Turbo. But what do you make of all that, Corey? What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, even before this came out, if this is all about the sequel trilogy, like it's always been very evident to me that there were different ideas from different people, and it all just kind of ended in this weird way. So I have no doubt that there wasn't a ton of hardcore planning that went into this other than like basic story beats. But ultimately, like, I mean, he's right in everything he said there. Like, you do have to, I mean, you can't help but notice the little things he said and realize they're probably small little digs at the situation. I have no doubt, like, as a creator, JJ and probably does feel a bit of regret over the fact that maybe he didn't get all three films, because it could have been a complete vision rather than a weird like mesh between two different people. Because ultimately that is, in my opinion, what the sequel trilogy should have been. It should have been one person doing all three, and if not, have a complete idea of where characters were going to go. Because ultimately you watch Rise of Skywalker, Raise of Palpatine, all of a sudden, you know, all these things just don't make sense. So I don't know if they necessarily didn't have like a general idea of where the characters would go. Like, for instance, I do think Kylo was always meant to die. I always think that's where his character was going to go.
Yeah, but was he going to die a hero or a villain? Because in the Trevorrow one, in the Duel of the Fates, I know he dies, but he stays evil, doesn't he?
No, he makes a quick change towards the end. But it's not
like as he's dying.
Like as he's dying, it's not like, it's really weird. So in that case, I think that was sorted out. I don't think the Emperor was always supposed to come back. I don't think that was ever planned. I don't think Finn and Poe were planned that well. You can tell that there was just some hiccups throughout the way. Even Kelly's character, Rose.
Yeah.
It was. I can definitely see this whole trilogy being poorly planned. I mean, that goes without saying.
Blarp asks, am I a criminal if I like episode 9? Buddy,
No.
Some of my best buddies love episode 9.
Yeah, that's one of Noah's favorite Star Wars films, and you know, it's a him thing, but you know, it is what it is, you know.
Yeah, like we'll make fun of him and like all in good fun though.
Yeah,
but like it's
still
fine. Like, yeah, but
like for me personally, I mean, every film is messy. in some way. Now the sequel trilogy is very messy, but every film is messy. So like what you like, doesn't matter. If as long as you like it, don't let people tell you not. If it makes you happy, yeah. Don't let people take that from you.
And just take critiques. Like I think, especially now, like I tweeted about this the other day, just having a debate with people about space movie planning, just from like fans that are they're just like speaking from their heart and their fandom. It's not driven by some like agenda against something. It was like, oh, this is fun. This is what like we used to do is,
and also like, I know a lot of people are like, wow, this is breaking news. It's not. I mean, of course it wasn't planned out well.
Well, I think also it's fascinating to hear some people talk about, I guess, the journalistic integrity of Collider as to asking that question. But there's some tweets about that.
It's a great question to ask.
Yeah, and like as someone who does a lot of like analytical writing and cross references a lot of like journalist interviews, and as someone who's wanting to go into journalism myself, I think ultimately it's the person that's being interviewed, like they get to decide if they're answering a question or not, and the person who's interviewing oftentimes as well, in regards to journalistic integrity, is okay if someone decides not to ask a question. And if you have someone right there with you, like you might as well ask the question because there's nothing to lose, as long as it's in a respectful way. And that was a very respectful way. So and it seemed like he wanted to answer. He was just trying to find like a nice way to answer so that it wasn't rude to anyone. Yeah.
But he was complimentary of it. Like he said he liked the handover. So like what? Hey, this thing I liked, how do you feel about it? It's like, oh, hey, settle down. But listen, as someone, sweet name drop right here, or sweet event drop, who has interviewed JJ Abrams, the dude can get out of, like, he is pro at not answering a question he doesn't want to answer.
Yeah.
Like the amount of times during that press row for the Rise of Skywalker at Celebration that I overheard, like he said it to me and I heard him say it to everyone else. He'd just like half answer a question and then go, I can't wait for you to see it.
Yeah.
And it's him just like going, yeah, I'm not, I'm ducking and weaving. So he sat there and thought about it and went, oh, this is how I'm going to answer it. Like, that's like, that part of it is what I like, is how thoughtful and honest he's being. I just so appreciate that, because everything's been, I don't know, like just such a PR smokescreen. Like it's all like anything you sort of get coming out of like an official channel is always so sort of peachy clean sort of thing. It's sort of good to get like some opinion. I know opinions aren't welcome in this day and age.
Well, I think hearing from JJ or Ryan about this kind of stuff is always cool, because a lot of people, will misinterpret things they say in writing and then make it a big thing. But when you're actually like visually seeing them talking about something, and they're, because of course they're, I'm sure, proud of the fact that they worked on Star Wars. They want to talk about those things. And if it's asked in a respectful way like that, why not? Why not open that dialogue with them? I think it's important to, in fact. Like, we haven't really heard from JJ since Rise of Skywalker came out. So it's cool to finally hear some things from him, and I think a lot of people, myself included, like the sequel trilogy debate is something that's been long drawn out.
Tiresome.
It's very tiresome.
Yeah.
And, whatever thinking you have on it, like there are obvious things, and I'm glad that JJ is open to answering them. It's cool.
Yeah, that's cool. Or even like Ryan talking about it, or he even just like him answering questions about Rise of Skywalker. It's just all been really, really nice. It's nice to see both directors be kind to one another and kind about one another. Like, I know, like clearly Ryan has said he didn't really have any plan for it, but he did say like he opened things up to what happens with Hux, what happens with Kylo without Snoke and stuff. So it's definitely fascinating to hear a little bit more about the creative process. I'm bummed out that we're never going to get a like making of Rise of
yeah.
Skywalker, because that author that does all the making of books
Yeah.
was told to stop.
Yeah, wrap it up.
The sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wrap it up.
Yeah, I think like with the journalistic thing, I'm not sure if like the question I think is so bizarre because it's like it wasn't a judgmental question, and it's a question that like for me is just burning. Like, what did you think of this like it's something I want to know.
Yeah.
And like I was like, oh yes, you asked like this is not just what do you think about, I don't know, like whatever, like BB-8's legacy or something. It's like, who cares? Like, save that for like when you're trying to sell me a Blu-ray. But to ask like a question that like thinking fans would be interested in, it's like, thank you. Like I think if anything, like some of the articles coming out of it and the headlines and the sensationalism and the rewording of what he said is in some cases a bit rich. But
I agree.
As far as the collide thing, like I've seen like some friends say, oh, he wasn't even talking about Star Wars. And it's like the question was about like that was the topic.
I think maybe it's because he says like, oh, well, just writing in general. But I think it's clear that he was talking about multiple projects, but that Star Wars was definitely included in the litany of cases that he was talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm glad that somebody finally asked the question, because I feel like most of the time what happens now is when you're sitting down with somebody from Star Wars, whether it be like the sequel trilogy actors or, you know, the directors, it's always, so what do you think about Baby Yoda? Or what do you think about The Mandalorian? Like, and that's cool and all, but like Steele said, I want to hear their thoughts on the questions everyone wants to know is on their mind.
That's why I'm excited for Ryan's behind the scenes of TLJ book.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like whenever I've had the opportunity to do those press row ones, it's always like you sort of normally get two questions. And my theory was always ask one for the TV show that I'm working for, like the morning TV show. And then second question, like, this is for me. Like, this is the fan. This is like the fan question that like is a bit, you know, they're not going to play on TV, but it's sort of like a good clip for YouTube and stuff.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But yeah, I just I was like overjoyed to hear that. And I know it's hard because like I didn't like the film that much. There's some scenes in it, like if you've got Ben Solo in the scene, I'm loving it. And I love like all the Ray Ben stuff, like with the like anyway, I don't want to go into a review about that. But yeah, I sort of like appreciate that he's sort of like, and another time that JJ has done this is after The Force Awakens. One of my, maybe the thing I disliked the most was how Chewbacca walked past Princess Leia after Hana died, and he just went, "Oh yeah, someone should have seen that, and we should have changed the edit." Like he didn't make it like, and I was just like, "Yeah, great." That's like when people go, it's because of the Wookiee mourning period. No, it's just because they made a mistake in the film. Like, don't open a Wikipedia article about it.
Yeah, sometimes they're like pragmatic answers to things. And like, I know I'm graduating soon, and I've taken a ton of film studies, film analysis courses, and we definitely do learn about like the difference between what's actually in the story and what's a production thing. And so that's always interesting to see, especially in something that in a medium and in a franchise that all the lore means something. There's a point where it doesn't actually mean something, and we need to be able to discern that. I think sometimes maybe people choose not to discern that, but other times people like actually are confused by that, and that's fine.
My favorite one is A New Hope with Ben fighting Vader, And like you have all those people who are like, well, Obi-Wan's slow because the desert sand over the years. And so in Rebels, the excuse is the reason the fight was so slow with Maul was because he's no. It was 1977. Like it has nothing to do with the character. They just didn't know how to do it at the time.
But isn't like the in-universe reason is they're old?
I don't even. I
don't need any desert sand.
Well, that's what I hear a lot from people is like it's because he's got aged on Tatooine, and so that it's just and like it's weird. Like who cares?
Yeah.
Like I think if you want to make a in-universe reason, it's because in Revenge of the Sith their battle was so like flippy dippy and tricky. It's just like when they meet again and they're older and they're like, this is their final meeting. It's like we're not bothering with all the flashy stuff. Like that's a waste of time. We can like we can wave our lightsabers in a spinny thing for like half an hour.
I already did that.
But we're here to have a chat, and then one of us is going to die. So let's just get it over and done with. You know what I'm saying? Matthew Thurbin says, imagine if JJ had asked for another year to fine-tune the film. I don't think he would have got. I think they would have moved on to someone else.
Yes.
That for me is like the top of the food chain of blaming people for how the sequel trilogy didn't like connect and wasn't sort of like fully fleshed out in all its concepts is Bobby I.
Yeah.
Like the thing we're doing it every 2 years, you're doing it a year shorter than George Lucas did it, and he's George Lucas.
Yeah.
So like you don't wing being George Lucas. Like you've got to put in like 7 times more effort than George Lucas, because he just wakes up and he's like, I'm George Lucas. Like, do you know what I mean? It's fine.
Yeah. Well, I definitely think like there's this weird thing with Star Wars where Disney, Bob Iger, like believe that when you have Star Wars on anything, it means it's going to do amazing. Right. And that's just not true. Like you have to sell a product, even if it's something as big as Star Wars, which is why Solo failed. And which is why like Rise of Skywalker did not make as much money as the other films did. And it still made $1 billion, which is amazing. But the point is like definitely could have done more as being the final, Skywalker saga film. It just also comes down to marketing, and it's like they didn't know how to handle any of this. And to a certain degree, like they still don't entirely, but they're learning.
Yeah, and Iger and Kathleen Kennedy have said as much as well, that like in retrospect, they realized that they focused so much on movies, they didn't realize that they could like suss out the story in other ways. And that's why they're moving to Disney Plus, and that's why they're exploring different projects, because they limited themselves. So it's interesting to see all of that now.
Yeah, I don't really think they were limiting themselves. There just was there was no avenue. There was no platform that could afford to, like, there was like a platform technology money disconnect. And once they got their streaming thing up and how competitive, and like people were just dumping, like burning billions of dollars. So in 10 years time they're going to have this like crazy business. It opens itself up along with like the technology to get it done so relatively cheaply for the visual. Optimal F back says, I think it's okay to not have a plan when the creative team is the same. It's a lot better.
Yeah, it's better. I think you have better chances, but then like sometimes you'll still get like, I don't know, like Game of Thrones or something.
I can tell you that even without a writer's perspective, even if you don't have a plan going into anything, even if you're with whoever you're with, a creative team, a regular team, whatever it is, if you don't have a plan or at least a rough idea of what you're doing,
it's harder.
Like, and that goes without saying. So even if you do have that creative team that you've worked with for years and years and years, it actually doesn't matter as much, because if you think about it, because it's still like anything could change at any moment. Dynamics could change. Someone could, you never know.
Yeah.
So you should always be ready for something.
Yes.
Yeah.
The I like my core thing is always like don't introduce a mystery unless you know the answer.
Yeah.
Because like it's fine. I'm over it, but the amount of time like we all spent like pausing like the force back, and it's like, is all this, you know, like when I interviewed one of the editors, Julian Smirk, I said, do you think by episode 9 we're going to know what all that, like that's all going to make perfect sense? And he's like, yeah, I think it will. And you know, like some of it does, you know, with the Bastine, whatever his name is, Uchi. What's his name? Uchi?
Gucci Bastune.
Oh no.
Gucci?
Uchi.
You idiot. All right, that's one for me. That's one for me. Braxton also says, don't change your answers once you've answered them. Yeah, it's yeah. But I just think like if like one of the big questions easily was out of The Force Awakens was who's Rey's parents, and like there's all these clues, and it was all like I know like you know, people I knew it was Palpatine all along, and I'm like, yeah, but that's not really, you weren't right, because when they were they weren't hinting it. Like it ended up being right, but back then it wasn't. It's just like,
yeah.
Whereas, you know, if you're watching like a whodunit film, like you want to think that in the first 30 minutes of the story, the people making the film knew who the killer was going to be at the end, so you can go like when it replays all the things of like the clues coming together, you're like, oh, that's why there was the bump and the But anyway, it's very interesting, and I cannot wait to I love hearing from people in Star Wars speaking honestly like that. It is 5 minutes to midnight. So yeah, Corey, you've plausible denial. The best bet is to hold it down the bottom. That's like, it's when Corey holds it up the top as well. That's when it starts jiggling.
Oh, is the mic making noise?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
You've been moving the mic a lot.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Corey's Corey's like dedicated his entire life and moved across the country to do this. But he'll get there. He'll get there.
He's just so used to moving, he moves the mic.
Okay. Well, you often move me, Corey. All right. So thank you, Aubree. Thank you, Corey. Aubree, can you let the good people of the internet know where they can track you down?
Yes, you can find me at Satellite Tides on Twitter and Instagram. And you can also find me at Pure Pizak YT, where Corey and I vlog, but not as much as we want. Because we always forget to
have one video.
We have one video.
The same video.
You can also catch me on the Convoy Call at Kessel Run Transmissions on that channel, where it's a show with me, Corey, and our friend Ross, who's MGF Customs, and we talk Star Wars and stuff. And our next show is tomorrow at 2, 1:30 or 2, one of those.
One of those.
Excellent, Corey. Let it rip, buddy.
You can follow me at Crow_Wolfpack on Twitter and Instagram, at KR Transmissions on Twitter, at Kessler Transmissions on Instagram, and everything she said. Too tired for this. Thank you. Good night.
You idiot. I knew those new clips would come in handy. Particularly that one.
I love how it's you now. Now you've clipped yourself into it. That's where we're at.
I hope just to have I want StreamYard to like ring me and go, hey bro, too many clips you got saved up on this thing. You're gonna have to delete a couple clips. Everyone, obey and honor the algorithm. Give us a thumbs up and a subscribe, all that good stuff. I will have my rapid fire review thing, which I'm now getting so into the stupid editing of it, that because there's not much happening in the episodes. So now I'm doing stuff like this. Dude. It's quite an art project. So check that out. Probably up tomorrow around midday. Enjoy your Bad Batch. Don't get concussion. Watch out for that CTE and all that bad stuff. And may that force be with you, and enjoy those Corey days. Sunday, Monday, Corey days. Tuesday, Wednesday, Corey days. Corey Day. What a day for YouTube. This content is ours. Scoop along with me those Corey days. Hey, so do you just want to chat for like 10, 15 more minutes or what?
Yeah,
Sure.
Let's spoil the rest.